Hey, what's up, everybody? Apologize for the late start. And yes, I realize I'm saying that very often now. I will get better at that. My the broadcast software I use kept crashing last night, and it was very frustrating. And so I'm trying a new one out tonight. So there's probably going to be some kinks to work out, and hopefully not, but it's usually how it goes. Carolyn, happy Wednesday to you. Hope everybody had a good day today. Trying to. Oh, there we go. Okay. I'm going to try to figure out how to turn the commercials off for y'all. All right, there we go. So you shouldn't have to worry about the commercials. Let me know if you do, but you shouldn't. At least the background looks great. Does that mean I don't look great? I mean, that's okay, Debbie. I appreciate the honesty. Nah, you already said it. You already dug the hole too deep. You can't get out of it now. trying to figure out how this layout is completely different than my other one, and all right, let's do that. The one thing that is complicated about this is it's impossible to test out exactly what the live's going to do and what it's going to do during the live. You have to be live to do that, and so I am just joking with you, Debbie. Just joking, that is for sure. Oh, that's better. And y'all can hear me good, correct? But I do promise we will get started. I know this is very exciting. This program is way less complicated than the one I'm used to, which strangely makes it more complicated for me. All right. I hope you all had a chance to catch last night's live. If you didn't, go back and watch that. You can find it on here, where all the lives, the replays are saved on my YouTube channel indefinitely. So anytime you miss one, or I mean, if you want to ever go back and watch one from months ago, it's on here. So, but if you missed last night, go back and check it out. It was a good one. I enjoyed it. I had Katie Watson Hall on discussing a case that involved her brother out of Bibb County, Alabama, where they made some major screw ups on a search warrant, and it was just a mess. I don't think we talked about it last night, but so Mark Moon, who is the current sheriff of Blount County, Alabama, has resigned. He's still technically in office right now, but he is not seeking his reelection in January, which he was guaranteed. So that has Blount County Republicans in a pretty bad place, and they're going to have to come up with a replacement for him in just a few, in a short few months, which is I wouldn't want to have to go through that, but I'm sure they'll figure it out. But one thing I do want to say about that, if you don't remember, I discussed him a lot not long ago, and I did a full podcast on him where some conversations had been leaked between he and a cooperating individual, an informant, that she had been arrested, but was what we call working off charges, which meant she had turned into an informant and was giving them information in order to get her charges dropped. And apparently he started a romantic relationship with her, and you can't do that. That is a big no. There's a lot wrong with that, and there's no need in me going back through all of that and discussing it, because again, I've done a whole podcast on it, and we talked about it on the lives back then. But then, and I was screaming then, that I don't think Mark Moon is a bad guy. I don't think he is some major corrupt sheriff. I don't think that at all. But he made a mistake that you cannot make, and the only fix to that is to step down. And now, one thing I want to get clear: I'm not saying I'm the reason he stepped down. There was a big stink that just came up over there in the past week and a half, where a longtime deputy that was a school resource officer had resigned from being a school resource officer because of I don't know, something about allegedly it was over a patrol vehicle, but I have no idea if that's true. I never confirmed what it was really over, but it got the community in an uproar over the way he handled that situation, the sheriff. And so now he has announced that he is stepping down. So I just want to be clear. I'm not saying that I'm the reason he stepped down. I'm saying that incident that we were screaming about is a big part of the reason he stepped down. And no doubt about that, because this last incident wasn't anything illegal. It caused an uproar in the community, but it wasn't some huge deal or anything like that. The incident from back then that we discussed was, again, a very big problem, very big deal. And it again, it's something that cannot happen. It's not that he had an affair. That is completely different. That is literally that's apples and oranges to what we're talking about. It's having that romantic, intimate relationship with a criminal informant that could possibly, and I'm not saying this is the case, I'm just saying this is the problem with it, that could very well possibly feel like she doesn't have a choice but to engage in that relationship or she would go back to jail. Even if she's never told that, uh, there, I understand and I know how informants in situations feel. They, they, you have a hold on them no matter what because you hold their freedom in your hands, and they know that. And so when you engage in a romantic relationship with them like that, they could very well feel like they don't have a choice and go through with that. And it's a horrible thing to do. And it should never happen. That should never happen. There's no excuse for it. But it happened with him. And so back to my original point of what I was going to say tonight is he did exactly what I wanted him to do. He did exactly what I thought he should have done. And therefore, I have a tremendous amount of respect for that. And I know this is not going to be the most popular opinion with a lot of people, but I'm just being true and honest of who I am and my feelings about it. He made a big mistake, and it's a mistake that you can't make and continue to be sheriff. And he stepped down. So again, I have a tremendous amount of respect for that, and I respect him for that. And again, like I said back then, I don't think he is some horrible person. I don't think that at all. I don't think he is some big corrupt sheriff. I don't think that at all. I have no evidence of any other corruption type behavior that he has done. So that very well could have been a one-time big mistake. But again, it is that mistake that you cannot make. And if you do, you got to step down. So, but I have a tremendous amount of respect for him for doing that. I was screaming this from the very beginning. For those of you who's been following me for a long time, back to the Walker County, Alabama stuff, and Nick Smith, the sheriff there, that's what I've been screaming for well over a year about him. Look, dude, if you would step down, I would respect that. But obviously that never happened and was never going to happen with him. He is a completely different character than Mark Moon. And I hope everyone realizes that. These two are completely different. And in my opinion, they are nothing alike. Mark Moon said that he was stepping down because this was having a major effect on his family. And I get that. And I don't doubt that at all. And that's part of the reason why I respect him for stepping down, because I'm sure that is going on. And that's one thing I could never understand about Nick Smith, and that really told me who he really is. His family was going through hell this whole time. His kids dealing with it at school, his wife dealing with it, and he didn't care. No matter what, he was not going to step down. He did not care who it affected. None of that. So I hope everyone realizes how different they are. But I just wanted to say that, and I'll probably make a little short video expressing my opinion on that for what it's worth to people. And again, I understand it's not going to be the most popular opinion, but it's just the way I feel. So I wish Mark Moon the best, and I hope he lands on his feet somewhere. I'm sure he probably will, but he can't be the sheriff anymore. It's very it is not common at all for someone that has the election in the bag like that to then resign. So again, I'm sure he has everyone up there scrambling, and there is going to be some throat cutting amongst people that are wanting that position. I'm sure. I wouldn't want to be a part of that right now. Uh, and if any of you know any of the ones that are trying to get that position, I would love to have them on the podcast and interview them. Um, I would I would really like to do that. I don't know any of them yet. I'm sure that there's people I talk to that do, and I'm going to put that out that I would like to interview any of them, and that way the people of Blount County can hear what their plans are and their qualifications. I saw, and this is not a knock towards this guy, and I'm not going to name him. Well, I don't even remember his name off the top of my head, but in one of the comment sections on one of the posts about it, he posted one of those AI posters that he was wanting the job, and it said nothing. It did not mention not one of no qualifications whatsoever. Didn't mention his background at all, and nothing. And it when you are, especially in politics, but really anything, if you're going to post something publicly like that, think about what you're posting. Because when you're posting something like that and you don't include your qualifications at all, your background, anything, it makes me think you're not proud of those things. And if you're not proud of your qualification and your background, who the hell is going to be? Now, I'm not saying that's the case in the guy that I'm talking about. Maybe he just didn't think about it. I don't know. But I literally responded to his comment, or responded to his comment and said, "Could you make one of these with your qualifications and background on it?" Because that's what people care about. They don't care about your. I'm trying. Let me pull that up because I can't remember what all it said, but it was just it told nothing. I mean, it told us nothing. I probably didn't save it. Yeah, I don't know. I bet I know what I did with it. Hopefully. Oh, I just saw something that reminded me of something else I want to grow up about tonight. Or should I say ignorance I want to point out. Hey, Tammy, how are you? And Tammy, mom of the twins, had, I think it showed up on the screen actually. With Moon, the timing is very funny since we were going to pack the commissioner meeting about his treatment of SRO Hollingsworth. Moon has done some good for our county. I'll give him that. And that's what I was talking. That's the situation I was talking about. And I don't know all the details uh, involved in that. Like I said, it looked like it was something over a patrol vehicle, which I was hoping because I hope what I heard is not true. Because if it is, what the hell? Uh, what I heard, and please don't quote me on this. I'm saying what I heard because I would like if anyone can correct me because I hope this is not true. I heard he that the SRO got pissed and stepped down from that position because they were going to mark his patrol unit with the school colors or something like that with a mascot. But again, that sounded so ridiculous. I highly doubt that's the actual issue. But I haven't had time to dig into what the actual issue was. So if anyone knows if that is true, or from my understanding, Moon wanted to spend money on theme packaging for the schools and told Moon the officers needed equipment and patrol cars needed AC. Are you saying they have patrol cars that don't have air conditioning? Yeah, I'm gonna have to dig into this stuff because now I gotta hope that's not true. I mean, I have more respect for Moon on a lot of things he's done, but if he was having any of his deputies riding around in vehicles without air conditioning, that's wow. And I mean, there could be a lot more to like as his patrol vehicle not had air conditioning for 2 years, or had it just gone out a couple of weeks ago and they hadn't gotten it fixed. And obviously, that's a big difference in those two things. So if the SRO got frustrated and stepped down because he didn't have air conditioning in his car, I understand that. That's not that ridiculous because um, anyone that has ever ridden in a patrol unit kitted up with their vest on and all the equipment in the summer of in the middle of summer in Alabama can attest to that. Like it's not that's not about you being uncomfortable. That's literally dangerous. I mean, you could collapse from heat exhaustion very quick in that situation. Luckily, I think I know just the person that probably knows all these details, and it's Munchies and Murder. And so I'm going to get with her and either get the answers from her, or if she would like to come on a live ASAP, just bring her up and let her answer these questions because I'm very curious now. I don't like that the county Republican Party will decide who is on the ballot in November. I feel there should be a special primary vote for us to decide. Well, because there's already been the primary, and I'm guessing there was no Democrat running, obviously. And so, did anyone run against him in the primary? Okay, if he had a patrol, if his vehicle didn't have air conditioner for 5 years, I'm impressed with the man that he made it that long. That's and Tammy, please understand. I'm not saying I don't trust what you're saying. I just want to verify before I really go off on that. Um, because if that's true, then I won't be doing any kind of video talking about having respect for Mark Moon. That is that's crazy, is what that is. I mean, I remember when I was in investigations, my air conditioner went out, and I lasted about an hour, and I was bitching to my bosses, "You're going to find me a car today until we get this one fixed," and they did. So, uh, and that I wasn't having to wear my vest all the time or all that, or all the extra equipment or anything. But I'm just there's no need, there's no sense in that. You got to take care of your people. They don't make a lot of money, and I'm sure I don't know what Blount County deputies make, but I'm sure it's not the best. Therefore, you at least have to take care of. I mean, you got to take care of people no matter what. But when they're not working for a lot of pay, you really have to make sure you're taking care of every little need, equipment wise, and things like that. Yeah, and as far as the Republicans picking who's on the ballot, I I don't disagree with you as far as the way that process works. I completely understand why we do it like that, but I don't like it, and I do think there's a better way to do that. But that's the way it is done. That's the rules. That's the way we do primaries in Alabama, and so that's just the way it has to be done. And therefore, when situations like this happen, then that's what happens. Now, if Moon leaves office before January, we'll have to pick a replacement at least until January. And from what I understand, he has stated he's leaving as soon as he finds another job. Therefore, he could leave next week. And if that happens, then the governor will have to find a replacement next week and at least until January. And if you want to be throwing a curveball at times, let the governor decide who your sheriff's going to be. I lived that curveball for a while. And our sheriff left to go be the chief deputy in LA County, in Los Angeles County. And so it was up to the governor who was going to replace him until the next election. And we all were like, it'll probably be, you know, Captain so and so or Chief so and so. And boom, out of the blue, the governor appointed someone that had nothing to do with our agency and had never been a sheriff before and was 80 years old, at least now. For those that know who I'm talking about, I'm not dogging that man because he is a legend, literally. And he didn't do a bad job. He wasn't there for long, but he did not do a bad job. In fact, I enjoyed working for him. I think everybody did. He was different, but we all liked him. We all liked working for him. And he's also an 80-year-old that could run 5 miles still and do 50, 100 push-ups at least. And he's a legend. He was a legend. His name is Billy Sharp. Anyone in the law enforcement community in Alabama knows him and knows who he is. And he was a longtime instructor, PT instructor at the academy. And that's where I first met him. He was our PT instructor at the academy, and he was old as could be then, but in better shape than any of us. He could outrun us. He could do more push-ups than that guy was nuts. But he was the last person we expected to be our sheriff overnight, but he was. But again, it worked out. I mean, we actually all enjoyed working for him. But my point is, it's literally completely up to the governor. So they can appoint whoever the hell they want to. I don't even know. Well, it would have to. They do still have to meet the qualifications of every county in Alabama is different on, like, some counties you just have to live in that county for one day to run for sheriff. Some you have to live there for a year. Some I think maybe 5 years. No, I don't know if there's any that long, but a lot of them are a year, but some of them are a day. I think Blount County's, well, I don't know what Blount County's is it's technically on the books, but I know the Republican Party, the qualifications they put out said you had to live there for at least a year. So whatever's on the books, the governor has to go by. But other than that, they can pick whoever they want to. Yeah, there's more topics. I'm sorry. I've spent more time on this than I meant to anyway. I was trying to. I want to move on to. I saw this last night and it got me fired up. I'm just. Let me figure out how to get this up. Hey, thank you, Carla. I appreciate that. No, I enjoyed that too. And I have some really big news. It has nothing to do with Katie. It just reminded me of other big news that I have, but I've got to. I don't want to announce it prematurely. But I think it's probably a done deal. But I'm very excited about that. It has something to do with me collaborating with somebody. I don't know. I'm gonna play this clip. This is the owner of TMZ, who I don't necessarily like the guy. Uh, but I'm gonna play this and then I'm gonna talk about it. Well, just kidding.
On a catering truck from Air Force One. The story of Donald Trump getting on a catering truck from Air Force One and then going on to a smaller airplane to leave Turkey is astonishing enough. It's scary that there was this kind of a threat.
I'm gonna play this and then.
But one of the elements of this incredible story has kind of been tempered for some reason. I spoke to a couple of people involved in this story, and I am not sure at all why it's been tempered. I'm told there were more than a dozen members of the White House pool, reporters, along with a handful of White House staff and military personnel, in addition to these uniformed flight attendants who were on the old Air Force One. And for some reason, they allowed that airplane to take off and fly. There were more than a dozen members of the White House pool, reporters, along with a handful of White House staff and military personnel, in addition to these uniformed flight attendants who were on the old Air Force One. And for some reason, they allowed that airplane to take off and fly. There were more than a dozen members of the White House pool, reporters, along with a handful of White House staff and military personnel, in addition to these uniformed flight attendants who were on the old Air Force One. And for some reason, they allowed that airplane to take off and fly. There were more than a dozen members of the White House pool, reporters. So why wouldn't they fake a mechanical problem and wait until Donald Trump was able to get through that area and get into safe airspace, and then declare what happened? And they had no idea why that didn't happen. But
hey, yeah, so I didn't realize it was repeating itself and echoing like that. I think I fixed the problem. Y'all let me know if I've not.
The idea that these unsuspecting reporters and others, White House staff, just didn't know is pretty remarkable. The story of Donald Trump getting on a
Now, did it fix at the end? Yep. Can you just answer my question? Okay. Now, for those that didn't hear it because of the crazy echo, it's again, that's TMZ's owner, founder, whatever. And a lot of people have been talking about this. Apparently, this last week at some point, or sometime in the last few weeks, the president was in, hell, I don't remember. I don't know. He was somewhere in another country. And maybe India. I don't know. But he was overseas. And they received obviously what they deemed as a credible threat, a serious credible threat, a TTL, as we call it in the military, threat to life, on the president. So they had him publicly walk into Air Force One and Turkey. Thank you. That's where he was, in Turkey. Onto Air Force One, closed the door, and then snuck him off the back of it onto a catering truck and moved him to another aircraft. And so Air Force One just became a decoy, but nobody knew he wasn't really on there. These idiots do not understand the real world at all. Now, I've been very open lately of I'm not happy with Donald Trump. He lied about some things. One big one, that he's not going to get us any more wars, and now we are in the middle of a completely unnecessary, senseless war. But these people are either, one, just complete ignorant and don't understand the way the world works, or they hate him so bad, no matter what, they're going to say this dumb stuff. If you heard him, he said they snuck the president off, but left other staff and press members on Air Force One, let it fly off as a decoy. Why couldn't they have just staged a mechanical problem? Because, you idiot, then it wouldn't be a decoy. Whether you like the current president or not, and I will say this about any sitting president of this country, no matter who they are, no matter how bad I don't like them, they are the most important person in our entire country right now. For a lot of reasons. If they are, if their life is taken while they're in office, that could be completely catastrophic to our country. And if you don't understand that, then you really need to educate yourself on history and the political world we live in today. No matter who it is, it probably would be catastrophic if our sitting president's life was taken, especially by a foreign country. That would start a chain reaction of we don't know where we would end up. And it blows my mind that there are people that don't comprehend that or understand that at all. And I've seen people commenting today and yesterday, oh, what a coward. He didn't want to get hurt. It's not up to him, number one, no matter what you think, you idiots. Number two, Air Force One could be shot down and every press member and staff member's lives lost. It would be devastating. It would be horrible for those people's family and friends. If it happens to the president, it would be devastating, horrible, and catastrophic to our country. And I'm just shocked that more people don't understand that. Everyone is dispensable. That's just a fact of life. Our sitting president is not. Just like in the military. E1, E2, E3, E4, E5, E6 in war are dispensable. There's 1,000 more of them to replace them. An officer is not easily replaced, especially in a war zone. They are more important than the lower people. And that's just the fact of life. So if someone has to be a decoy, it's not going to be the officer. It's not going to be the E8, E9. It's going to be a junior soldier, sailor. Just a fact of life. It's how it works. And no matter what anyone thinks, when it comes to the safety, when it comes to an imminent threat on the president doesn't make calls at that point. The Secret Service does. Whether he wants to go or not, they're going to drag him. Because that's their job. Their job is not to protect the press or staff members. It's to protect the president. And they know he is the most important person in this country right now. Every day I see stuff and I'm like, my God, what is wrong with people? Like stuff that I can't believe. And this topped a lot of those when I started seeing this. And where this idiot that runs TMZ doesn't comprehend what a decoy is. And it's a lot more technical than that, but that's the gist of it. But to answer a lot of people's questions, yes, he is way more important than around him. Anyone else around him is dispensable. He is not. That's the way it is. And for people to make it political, like I've seen people say, well, I find it odd that he's the only president that's ever done this. Yeah, that's the case. Some people show their ignorance every time they open their mouth. I mean, I show mine probably 15, maybe 20% of the time I open my mouth, but some people 100%, and they just never need to open their mouth. If you think this is the first president to do something like that, I guarantee you, and I would bet my life on every single president we have had, at least in the last 40 years, has done similar things. And it will always be like that. I don't know how, and William just hit on this. We have a lot of people dropping way too much classified intel these days. I don't know how this got out. That's the problem. Because this should not have gotten out. And the fact that it did is a big problem. And it shows us there's leaks on the inside, which doesn't surprise me whatsoever. And a lot of us have figured that from the beginning with this president, because there are people that don't want him here. And they have tried and will continue to try anything and do anything to take his life. But considering there's leaks on the inside that close, that's scary. That's the problem. That's what everyone should be bitching about and losing their mind about. The ignorance of some people. I'm 43 years old. It blows my mind that there are 60-year-olds that don't have a third of the wisdom I have. And trust me, I don't have a lot of wisdom. But I obviously have a lot more than a lot of those people done their whole lives. Have they just sit around and not learned anything? Have they just watched TV all the time? Have they gone fishing every day? Like, what the hell have they done with their life that they don't understand and comprehend simple things like the purpose of a decoy? And it shouldn't be political whatsoever. If the sitting president's life is taken, especially by another country, could be catastrophic. That would be catastrophic to our country. And I've seen this story straight down political lines, and that's crazy to me. In CNN, people acting like he's a coward and, oh, I can't believe you put those other people in danger. What about them? Nobody cares about them. Their lives are in that situation. Their lives mean nothing. And that's just me being real. And I would say the exact same thing about me if I was on that flight. Number one, if you're traveling with the president, I hope you understand the danger you're in. If you don't, that's a whole other issue. But you have to understand the sitting president of the United States is the most important person in the United States at that time. That's the way it is. And again, if this was Biden and people were saying this, I'd be losing my mind the same way, because this has nothing to do with politics with me. This is fucking common sense. And when I see Americans calling for someone to take our president's life, or hoping or wishing, be careful what you wish for. Do you not understand that if another country, if a foreign asset takes our president's life, more likely than not, that would start a world war? And if you don't think it'd be catastrophic, you're fucking crazy, because it would be. And there would be no way around it. If that happened, it's not like the United States could just sit back and go, it's bad luck. Y'all please don't do that again. That's not how it would happen. That's not how it could happen. We would have to take that country completely out. With all means we have. Because if we didn't, them or another country would just take out our next president, and it's a domino effect. Like, I don't understand how people don't comprehend that. So, for those that are wishing bad upon our sitting president, you're okay with us being with that literally starting a world war? Which would more than likely cause us to have to literally do a draft again, and your sons and daughters would be fighting, because there would be no way around it. Is that what you want? Because that's what you're calling for. I know reading is a very hard skill for some people, but for the love of God, go pick up a book sometimes. Hell, turn on a podcast, watch a documentary, learn history. History is one of the most important things to learn. I hear people all the time, but, well, I mean, history doesn't interest me. And I can't comprehend that, because there's so much you're not going to understand and know if you don't learn history. Like this. Like not comprehending how catastrophic an incident like that would be. You don't even have to read a now. They have them on audio while you're driving in your car. Listen to them. I do that every single day. I don't listen to the radio. I don't watch TV. I don't listen to the radio. When I'm in my truck, I'm listening to a podcast or a book. The most I watch TV is during football season, and I watch all the football games. Every once in a while, I will watch I'll watch a documentary. Every once in a while, my wife and I will pick out a show to binge watch in the evening sometimes, but that's rare. I don't sit around. Like, you're not going to come to my house on Saturday and catch me sitting on the couch watching TV. I would lose my mind if I did that. It's just not. I can't do it. I'm not happy if I'm not doing something productive. And I'm not saying that everybody should be like that, because there's cons to that. But for the love of God, maybe turn the TV off every once in a while. Well, there's my rant for the night on that. Yeah, look how the people cheered after Charlie Kirk's assassination. Literally over a man that had never been violent in his life. They cheered that his life was taken because he spoke. And you know what's crazy? Some of those same fucking idiots are the ones screaming about the flock cameras and the Fourth Amendment. We don't care about the First Amendment. You expect me to believe you care about the Fourth Amendment? No, you don't. No, you don't. Yes, Wingo, you can share your rant for the night. Hey, for those that are on, if you would hit that thumbs, I would really appreciate that. Because so far, I think 2 of you have done that. Just one little click. Doesn't cost anything. You said, "Can I share my rant for the night?" And I said, "Yes." And then you said, "Me versus you." What are you talking about? Sounds like a challenge, not a rant. I don't think hitting that thumbs up is costing you any. It's costing you money, Katie. In fact, I'm positive of that. Can y'all see that? Right here. Can you? No, you're not going to be able to read it. I have 661 unread text. 660. I have 200,000. I have 264,000 unread emails. I responded back to y'all numerous times today. And I did look at y'all's messages. I didn't see anything that I needed to respond back to. Well, I used to be like that, Tammy, because I'm very OCD and ADD. However, I get so many messages, it's impossible to keep up with. It would be impossible for me to read all my text messages that I get and messages from everything. It's impossible for one person. I'm working on there's some AI, there's an AI program that will help with that. So that's what I'm getting in place. You don't see where you can give a thumbs up. Look at the bottom right of your screen. There's a thumbs up and a thumbs down. Okay, apparently that's just on the desktop. That's weird. Okay. If you turn your phone sideways like this, it's right here. The heart may be the same thing. I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. You don't have to put me on your TV to like it. I don't even know how you could do it on if I don't know how you could like it if it was on the TV. I mean, maybe it's possible. Oh, I forgot I can do this cool thing. So this is the screen I see straight from my YouTube channel. And you see the thumbs up down here? Right there. But yeah, on the phones I notice is a different is a little different. Oh, you always watch it on the TV. Oh, that's kind of intimidating when people are watching me on a TV screen like that. All right, what else y'all want to discuss tonight? What else y'all want to talk about? Let me see what else I got in my notes. Oh, so back on Walker County, um, I've got to, well, it's pretty much verified. Let me find it. The city of Oakman, Alabama, and Walker County either has already hired Jason Hare or is definitely going to as the assistant chief. Now, for those that don't remember who that is, it's the, I don't know what word to use for him, the POS predator that sexually assaulted his dispatcher when he was chief of police at, was it Carbon Hill? On video, plain as day. He should have been arrested, but he wasn't. He should have been fired, but he wasn't. So we've got to get that fixed. Cordova, I'm sorry. I always get those mixed up. Thank you. He was the police chief at Cordova, which is a small town in Walker County. I am trying to figure out who we can contact with a post, but I have some serious questions as to, and in Alabama, APOST, the Alabama Peace Officers Standards and Training Commission, is who certifies law enforcement officers in Alabama. They can also pull your certifications. His should have been pulled. Again, evidence is clear as day on video. He should not be allowed to have a badge and a firearm. And this is literally what a bunch of us was pissed off about at Cordova when they didn't fire him when he should have been fired. That some other town is going to pick him up. And here we are. Nick Smith tried to hire him back at Walker County, and we got word of it. And so we started screaming to the top of our lungs, and it stopped it. Oakman is trying their best to keep this very quiet. But people are going to talk because people don't like him. And oh, by the way, the biggest bombshell, word on the street, come January, when Nick Smith is kicked out of the sheriff's office, he's going to be the police chief at Oakman. That's the word on the street. Can you imagine Nick Smith being the police chief and the assistant chief being Jason Hare? Definitely won't be any bad corruption going on there, right? Now, I have been pretty much guaranteed that APOS is going to pull Nick Smith's certifications. And I figure they're waiting until his criminal trial is over with, case is over with, and I get that. I hope that has not changed. And this is why it's so important that they pull his certifications, because if they do, he can't be the police chief. He can't be in law enforcement anymore. Not in the state of Alabama. APOS has a responsibility. And for too long, they've sat on their hands about a lot of things. But this Jason Hare situation has crossed the line. And in case there's anyone on here that doesn't know what I'm talking about, give me a quick minute or two, and I will pull this video up. But it is definitely a trigger warning. I don't even know the correct words for it. And I'm so dumb. I truly thought when Nick Smith lost the election, hey, I'm going to be able to cover other things, and I won't have to mention Walker County for a while now. Boy, was I wrong. We still have the Joey Vick stuff going on there as well. And there's no sound of this. This is an 18-year-old dispatcher, fresh out of high school, her first job. She's just trying to dispatch. This is the police chief. He grabs her head. She pulls back. I mean, the body language, she doesn't want anything to do with this. And instead of him backing up, he leans further in and is now literally rubbing his junk on her. She's frozen. She swats him away numerous times. But when he gets right up on her after she's already swatted him away and pulled away from him, she freezes. And this is sad. I want to show what I'm talking about. Right here. She's frozen. "18-year-old girl." This is a kid. Her boss, the police chief, with his badge and his weapon on. I can't imagine how uncomfortable she was. But this is sexual assault. Literally. That's the man that is either already or very soon going to be the assistant police chief in Oakman, Alabama. And Oakman's not had any issues. They've done well at picking their stuff. Except their mayor has been indicted for stealing money, fraud, misuse of government equipment. Oh, by the way, he also happens to be a Walker County deputy. It's every time I talk about this stuff and it runs through my head, this shit is unbelievable in Walker County. And I know I've said this 1,000 times, but you cannot make this stuff up. I am and this is, if there's any Walker Countyans on here, this is a legit question. I'm not saying that it shouldn't be. I'm just, should Oakman be a town? I mean, legit, like, what is the need for them to have a police department and a mayor? I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but the population of Oakman, let's see, it can't be that much. $750 people. Why does a town of 750 people need a mayor and a police department? I understand the law enforcement coverage is needed, but the tax dollars that go to the town of Oakman could go to the county and then be able to hire one or two more deputies. But anyway, I know they're purposely trying to keep all this quiet, but it didn't stay quiet. And we're going to have to scream about this and bring awareness to it, because this is, I wish I could say unbelievable, but it's not there. I live between Parish and Oakman. Yes, Parish, the town, but it doesn't have its own police department. The need just isn't there for either one of them. But and because my issue is Oakman's not doing anything right. They picked a winner of a mayor. Now they're picking their it blows my mind that anyone was sitting there and even thought up, you know what we need in Oakman? Nick Smith as the police chief and Jason Hare as the assistant police chief. That's probably somebody just needs to be put down. Just take them on to the vet. Because here's what's going to happen. One of them or both of them are going to be on duty in the middle of the night at times. And some young girl is going to be driving through there and they're going to pull her over and bad things are going to happen. Tell me I'm wrong. That's a podcast I got to make ASAP. Well, that'll be a fun one too. I wasn't talking about the police officer for who just texted me. I was saying that about the whoever sat around and thought that up, like with the city of Oakman. And yeah, I probably shouldn't have said it anyway. I agree with that. But just to be clear, I wasn't saying that about a police officer. What I'm saying is add 2 county cops to patrol them. If they were doing their jobs, it would be different, but it seems as if some POS always ends up in these positions. Well, and that's what I'm saying. And thankfully, Walker County is about to have a new sheriff that I have high hopes for. He's not going to be perfect, but night and day from what they had. Definitely going to be a big change for the better. And again, for those tax dollars that are going into the city of I keep calling it city, but the town of Oakman into the mayor's pocket, could be going to the county and give them more funds to hire more deputies. I mean, even I don't know anything about the town of Oakman as far as their city building or anything, but whatever upkeep it costs for their city hall or town hall power, all that adds up and that could be 3 more full-time deputies for the sheriff's office. They don't need a mayor. Oakman doesn't need a mayor. That's nuts. Again, the thing they need is law enforcement presence, and that could and should be done by the county. And that would be better off. That would be better for the entire county, and especially for the sheriff's office, to give them more manpower in general. Have I kept up with the Pritchard police? Not too deep. I just know it's one of the next to Walker County. It's the craziest thing I've ever seen as far as an entire police department being very badly corrupt. I want you to notice something. God, I hate to be like this. I really do. I really hate to be like this. What has gone on in Pritchard? Horrible. And there should, and more than likely is going to be, a lot of people going to federal prison for a very long time. Why was the same action not taken in Walker County with the sheriff's office there? Because it was just as bad, if not worse, because people were losing their lives in Walker County. Same agency investigating them, the FBI. FBI is who investigates public corruption. What? Why is there such a big difference in how it's been handled? Because they are acting very swiftly in Pritchard. I mean, they've put everyone in jail. Nick Smith, as far as we know, still hasn't been indicted federally. And I mean, I have my thoughts on why, but I hope it's not true. I hope that's not true. I hope that's not the case, but I don't know. I don't understand that. Ben, I think it's Ben. I don't understand what you're saying exactly. On your last comment, I'm sure it will be some campaign boost for someone to run again. Look what it. Can I give you a quick rundown of what's happened in Pritchard? Not specifically because I haven't had time to look into it, with all the stuff I'm looking at and working on. Because here's the thing. I I try to spend most of my time and effort into things that need awareness brought to them, like things that are not when things are bad and nothing's getting done. In a situation like Pritchard, thankfully, things are getting done. I mean, they've shut the whole agency down. Again, they've arrested pretty much everybody that is involved in the agency. So things are being done there. So I haven't had time to dig into exactly what's going on. I just know it's really, really bad. Tons of corruption, like mass, widespread corruption there, horrible things. Uh, they were literally, some of them were literally running drugs for large drug organizations, like literally transporting them for them, uh, amongst other things. There were tons of grape kits that never got submitted to DFS, Department of Forensic Sciences, which is that in itself is horrible. I mean, and that's just two of the things I know they've done. There's obviously a lot more to it that I don't. Again, I don't know all the details, but I and again, don't get me wrong. I'm glad that the FBI is handling Pritchard the way they're doing and being swift like that. I just don't understand why the same thing wasn't done in Walker County. Well, no, I'm not saying they should have shut down Walker County Sheriff's Office. I do understand your point there, but the sheriff should have been arrested. Nick Smith, hell, I don't even know why I'm trying to keep it. I was told quite a while ago by an extremely, what I think or what I thought was an extremely reliable source, that Nick Smith had been federally indicted. And when I say, and what I would swear is an extremely reliable source, and we still haven't seen it. Now, from my understanding, there are still some sealed indictments. I'm guessing one of those is his. So my point is, I'm almost, I mean, I am. There is a really, really high chance that Nick Smith has already been federally indicted, but there is still sealed. I don't know why that is. If he ends up not having a federal indictment, I will be extremely surprised. But you, Brian, you do have a good point as far as, yeah, it's much easier. Like like a police department, a city police department can be shut down overnight. The county just takes over the calls. That's not a big deal. But yeah, you can't just completely shut down a sheriff's office. You can't do that. So I do. Your point does make sense there. And honestly, it's something I haven't really fully thought about. So I just don't understand why they allowed the sheriff to stay in his position. Um, and there's other things I know that I know to be a fact that's involved in that. And I don't understand why the stuff didn't, it's still not happened. I mean, I can only say so much, but I don't know. There's some things that have still not happened that does not make any sense to me. One thing I want to say before I forget that is completely off subject of anything we've been talking about. I have to be very careful of what I say, but I will say this. I completely understand and accept the fact that people are going to attack me publicly online. They're going to make up things. They're going to, I mean, I get that. It's part of it. It sucks, but it's part of it. And there is nothing I can do about that. You can make up whatever the hell you want to about me and make a video or a post or comment. I don't give a shit. Trust me, I'm not reading it. I'm not going to pay you any attention. But you absolutely cross the line when you start personally harassing my family members, my friends, people on my team. You are crossing a line that I will get you back across. And I want to make that very clear. I don't give a fuck how crazy you are. I don't. You better be sane enough to understand what I'm saying right now. That is a line that you better not cross again. Again, attack me all day. Make up whatever you want to about me. I don't care. But when you start personally harassing my family, I'm telling you, you're crossing a line that you're not going to walk back across. You're going to get thrown back across. You can claim you're crazy all day. I don't care. Something I needed to say. Pritchard, because it's near me. Mobile County SO has taken over policing in Pritchard. 2/3 of their calls are in Pritchard city limits. That's not surprising. Residents say they're surprised that Mobile County SO shows up because Pritchard PD wouldn't show up to calls. Well, they didn't have time. They were busy. Rob. No, I assisted on a case or two in Pritchard back in the day on when I was on a task force, and that is a different world. Not even a different country. It's a different world. In Pritchard, things are done their own way. It's the roughest place I've ever been in this country by far. I mean, by far. don't know that I have anything else that I was going to discuss for tonight. Anybody, what else you want to discuss or talk about? Which ruling are you talking about, William? Are you talking about I can't remember what. You repossessed cars from Pritchard when you were in college? Ron, you may be the luckiest person I've ever spoken to. My goodness. Somebody could call me tomorrow and offer me an ungodly amount of money to go repossess cars in Pritchard, and I would turn that down. I mean, I'm not scared. I'm just not stupid. That's crazy. That's why they had a college kid doing it. No sane adult would do it. They're like, let's go pick a poor college kid that doesn't know better. Oh, wow. That's pretty crazy. Yeah, that's what I was thinking about. That the what circuit is that? I'm not sure, but one of the federal circuits, federal judge in Texas, like William said, ruled that parts of the NFA were unconstitutional without the tax, meaning for short-barreled rifles, the SBRs, and suppressors or silencers, as you call them. There, forever has been you have to purchase a stamp, a tax stamp, and jump through all these hoops to be able to get those things, which is ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous for suppressors. Like, I have never nor has anyone that understands firearms at all ever understood that rule. That's the Fifth Circuit. So, but now, correct me, William, is it you don't have to have a tax stamp anymore, correct? And so since you don't, but even though that you don't have to have that tax stamp, the government was still making you jump through all these hoops to get those things. There's a long waiting period. I mean, it's very complicated, and it shouldn't be. And so now this judge in the Fifth Circuit has ruled that since you no longer have to have the tax stamp, then they can't make you jump through these hoops. Now, one thing that's going to do what it already has done, but is definitely going to do now, especially if that makes it to SCOTUS and the Supreme Court, the United States Supreme Court. Suppressors and SBRs are about to go through the roof on price. And that sucks. But at some point, it will die down. But I've never, nor have I ever met anyone that understood why suppressors had to go, why you'd have to jump through these hoops. That law was literally, that had to be made by someone that watched movies. Because what you see in the movies is not how it is in real life. If you've ever shot a suppressed firearm, it's not like it is in the movies where it doesn't make any sound. It's just this quietest thing ever. It still makes a sound. It's just muffled a lot. And if you have a good suppressor and shooting really good ammo, certain types of good ammo through it, then you don't have to wear earmuffs at all. And that's awesome. That's really awesome. It should have never been that hard to get a suppressor. I mean, I'll give you the argument on the SBRs, even though I don't agree with it. I don't think the government should have their hands in any of that. As far as SBRs, I say I'll give you that, but honestly, I really don't fully understand that. A long barreled rifle is way more deadly than a short barreled. Way more accurate. You can shoot them at much longer distances. Now, I guess I don't know for sure, but I'm guessing the reason that they have always deemed SBRs this horrible thing is because this is how dumb this is. I guess because you could conceal them better, but yet you can conceal a pistol a lot better than you can those, and that's never been an issue. Again, I don't understand it, and I've never been anyone that does. Yeah, you still have to do the background check like you do with any firearm, but it would be the same, like a suppressor and actually, I don't think you should even have to do that on a suppressor. But obviously the SBRs, I get that. You got to do the background check just like you do with any other firearm. But other than that, that's it. Yeah, people making the rules are doing just what you said. They think it's like movies and TV shows. And we've seen that. We've seen some of these politicians that pass these laws talk about an AR-15 and the way that, like, wow, they could not be more out of touch with reality. Like, could not be more out of touch with reality. I mean, a simple thing of them calling them assault rifles, and there's the amount of people that truly think AR stands for assault rifle. And that was literally made up at some point by, I'm guessing, probably the media started saying that. And the amount of people that believe that's what it stands for, and that's not what it stands for at all. You know, I agree that regular citizens shouldn't be able to possess or just go and buy without extra checks and stuff a fully auto weapon. I get that. But an SBR and, again, a specialist suppressor, the dumbest thing. And that's why. I run a 16-inch barrels because why mess with something that works? Yeah, I mean, I've got quite a few SBRs, but that's just because I have quite a few firearms. They're cool. I like to go out and play with them, and there are times where I keep those at my ready versus a longer, rifle, whatever. It just depends on the situation. But if I'm going into a firefight, I'm not going to carry an SBR in there. I mean, it's going to be a longer barrel. Like you said, it's going to be at least a 16-inch. And somehow the government at some point decided that the SBRs were more dangerous than those. Again, it's dumb. But watch some of the politicians and how they handle weapons and the way they talk about them, and then it makes complete sense. It's just nuts. Yeah, I hope that goes all the way through and the Supreme Court agrees with that, and we can put all that mess behind us. I think there was Oh yeah, there was something else I was going to talk about for a few minutes because this really bothered me. For those that have not followed Brittany Battle Roberts, that she's the mother of Will Roberts, that the 15-year-old that had cancer and fought very hard for over a year, and they've had this long battle, just things I wouldn't wish on my worst enemy. I got to figure out how to get my here. I know what to do. Well, that's not going to work. Here we go. I don't know how to make this bigger on here. I got to figure that out. Back, Gene. I hope you're doing better. So, back to the Roberts. And if you've been following me, these are friends of mine. Known them for years. They're great people. And Brittany made this post either yesterday or day before yesterday. Well, I guess yesterday. Never mind. I just took the screenshot. It was yesterday. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but there's a couple of things that she talks about in here that really piss me off. And I know a lot of people don't mean bad and don't have ill intentions when they make comments. But please start thinking and putting thought into things before you just comment on something. She's talking about how she started feeling like a prisoner because of the GoFundMe. Now, first, I want to be clear. It's sad and really pisses me off that she even felt the need to explain herself in this. Now, she shouldn't have explained herself, but I'm not. I mean, she's doing what she feels like she wants to do and needs to do, and that's her. I mean, not judging her because of that. I'm just saying she shouldn't have even felt the need to make an explanation, to explain any of this. And the gist of this is because a lot of people donated money to them during that journey, she started worrying about any purchases they are making right now or going to make in the future because of afraid of what people would say of, oh, it must be nice to have that, whatever, with donated money. First off, these two have worked hard their entire careers. And they have unselfishly spent their entire careers serving and protecting the people of Alabama. They both work for the state in law enforcement. And I think Brittany is now, I don't know if she's actually retired yet, but she can. And I think she's going to, from what it sounds like anyway. But anyway, she's worked at least 25 years in law enforcement in the state. Brittany's specialty and expertise for the last numerous years has been in child crimes, which, as I've said numerous times, I couldn't do that. And I have tons of respect for the people that are able to, because it takes a special person to do that. And that's what she has done. And she's been really good at it. She's really good at it. I mean, she's one of the experts in this state on that. The things she's had to see, the monsters she's had to interview. I mean, she's worked her ass off. So for anyone to act like they didn't have money before is crazy. I don't know how many years Jason has in the state, but it's over 20 at least. It's got to be close to 25, if not more. Let me get to let's see. People see the total raised, but they don't see what's going out. They see a beautiful bass boat pull up that was generously gifted to your child and may wonder what happens to something like that when the unthinkable happens. They see the trips, the flights, the gifts, the blessings. What they don't see are the medical bills, credit card statements, expenses, promises made to your child, responsibilities left behind, and decisions that still have to be made when the person everybody was fighting so hard to save is suddenly gone. Neither one of them have worked hardly at all, if any, in the last year, because they've been fighting this battle with their child. And she says, if you gave our family $5 or 5,000, prayed for us, mailed Will a card, helped fund this boat, contributed to his birthday challenge, shared our story, or simply followed along and loved our child, I want you to know the whole story. For those that didn't follow us from the very beginning, when Will was first diagnosed, people immediately started asking to start a GoFundMe. We didn't want money to become what our story revolved around. Instead, we asked for something much simpler. Send Will and Charlie some words, and Charlie is Will's little sister, words of encouragement, and y'all did. For months, we received thousands of cards. Some had money tucked inside, some didn't. And how can I hold on? Now, long story short, they had what Brittany says here, around $100,000 saved up in cash before Will got sick. And I don't doubt that whatsoever, knowing them. They do not spend money. They're not people that care that want the nicest, newest car or anything. I mean, they have a very nice house, but they don't spend money like that. Those things don't matter to them. I can attest to that. And they're both very financially responsible. So they had that, and then Will got sick, and people started giving them money. They had not asked for it, but people started giving them money, which is awesome. And I think what she says in here is they had around $150,000 in cash, and they're safe when their house was. They were in Texas for one of Will's treatments, and somebody broke into their house and stole all their cash, over $150,000 in cash. Special place for those that done that. Because who did it knew what was going on and knew they were out of town and why they were out of town, and went and did that. That in itself is evil on a whole other level. Yeah, they had over 150,000 in their safe. Every bit of it was stolen. And she still has not told that whole story, and she says in here she's going to soon. And I'm not going to discuss it right now because I'm not going to put words in her mouth or anything like that. But I have a feeling I know what that's about, and I'm ready. I'm going to be right here when she puts it out. And I hope people pay attention. So, and then she goes into all the, how much money all the expenses was, just the medicines and all the travel they had to do. I mean, again, it's very expensive. And a lot of people donated money to them. A lot of people were very generous to them, and they have always been very appreciative of that. And one of her points is she didn't start the GoFundMe, nor did they ever ask anyone to. One of their friends started the GoFundMe without their permission, which was not a bad thing. They kept telling them they didn't want it, and this person knew they probably needed it. and knew that they wasn't going to do that on their own because, again, that's not the kind of people they are. And so a friend of theirs started it and started putting it out. And it was a long time before Brittany even shared it on her page. And when she finally did, it was because they needed to come up with $500,000 for this special medicine that they had found, which is what took them to California. For those that know the story, they spent the last few months in California trying to get this medicine. And so when they had to come up with that much, she posted it. And, a lot of us shared it. One part I want to get to. So during all of that, Mrs. Carroll, and I'm not sure who that is. I think that has something to do with the Kids Outdoors fundraiser that was helping get Will the bass boat he wanted. And Brittany says, Mrs. Carroll reached out to another Facebook digital creator who had shared Will's story multiple times, hoping he would share the fundraiser so people would know it was legitimate. Cool. He wanted to charge her a very large fee to do it. So there is someone, and she didn't name him in this, but I think she says, well, she says that's a story for another day. I really hope she names who that is. There is someone out there with obviously a large following that pretty much does what I do. And that person was asked to just share the link for the fundraiser. Just share it. That's it. And they wanted to charge them a large fee to do that. And I really hope she names them, because everyone who follows them, and I don't know who it is, but I hope she names them, because everyone that follows them deserves to know what kind of person they really are, because that is unbelievable to me. Like, literally the only effort that person would have had to put into it was 2 clicks. They wanted them to share the link on their page. Anyway, that's one part I wanted to talk about. And she says, when I eventually share what some digital creators can make from sharing the tragedies of families and the reality of childhood cancer, I'm going to have all of y'all ready to become digital creators and to also understand how tragedy is financial gains for some. And what she is talking about is, and I see a lot of people doing it. You can go back on my page forever. I've never posted anything about them as my post. Every time I've ever mentioned that post or anything was me sharing Brittany's post. Why does that matter? because that way Brittany's post gets the views, the clicks, and is a financial resource for them. When we share their post, we don't get any financial gain out of that. And that's what everyone that ever shared their story should have done. Now, there's one person that Rick Carl, I think is his name. Now, he posted his own post about them, but that was like Brittany and them wanted him to do that. And he's the reason that they got that Brittany's platform grew so big. And so I'm not talking about him. I want to be clear about that. I'm not talking about the Rick Carl guy, but anyone else. Because I would have never shared any part of their story for financial gain for myself ever. I wanted anything I shared, wanted her to get the clicks and the views. Because I knew financially that was helping them. So what she is talking about is there are people that do what I do. And when someone like Brittany makes a post, they will go in, take the details of that post, and then make their own post. Let me show y'all exactly what I'm talking about in case I don't know if I'm explaining it well enough. So this post, my page, this is on my Facebook page, and this post you see someone shared this Haley Williams post. And then name me in it so it shared to my page as well. But this Sharon Duncan shared this post on my page. So everyone that clicks on that, all those financial resources go to Haley, not to Sharon who shared it. And so, like I said, this is how I shared all of Brittany's stuff and in any part of their story. Anytime I said anything about them, I shared one of her posts, and then I might write something up above it. But again, that gives like all that goes to any clicks, views, whatever goes to Brittany, not to me. Now let me pull up the other. Now you see this post that I made yesterday about the live tonight. That's my post. So I made this post. So anyone that clicks on that post or sees that post, reads it and everything, I get the clicks and the views and whatever financial whatever, however much money that post makes goes all to me. So And I know a lot of you are like, yeah, I get what you're saying. Move on. I just wanted to make sure because I didn't know if I was explaining it correctly. Good enough. So that's what Brittany is talking about. That there are some creators that instead of sharing her post would take what she's saying from her post and make their own post out of it. And the only reason they're doing that is to make money off of it. And I've seen some people that I had a lot of respect for that did that with Will's story. And it really pisses me off. And it caused me to lose respect for some people. Because I know what they're doing. They know what they're doing. The fact that anyone would purposely sit there and make a post about a 15-year-old losing his life to cancer, and the only reason they're posting it is to make money off of it. You need to pay attention to those people. And when people you follow are doing that on stories like that, unfollow them. Don't click on their stuff. There was one, and I'm not going to name her, but there was one that when I saw that did that, I was so disappointed in. So disappointed. But that's what Brittany's talking about. So if someone, pretty much, Tammy, they may add their own phrases to it, but they got the story, they got the news and the update from Brittany's post. Instead of just sharing her post, they made their own post. So a lot of times it's not necessarily just straight plagiarism, but they should have just shared the post. And the only reason they didn't is because they knew they wouldn't get paid like that. Therefore, they're not sharing the post to bring awareness to Will's journey. They're sharing the story to make money off of it. And I hope Brittany calls them all out. But people deserve to know who they're following, who they're listening to, who they're putting trust into. And that's a very quick way to know, all right, who's doing this for the right reasons and who's doing it for the wrong reasons. So I'm trying to get her post back up so I can read the rest of it. But for instance, if you took one of her posts and made it your own, and it got 2 million views, then you just made, I don't know, around $500 just by doing that, if you have a large following. So again, those people know what they're doing. And you will never see me do that about a kid with cancer or an adult with cancer for that matter. It's again, there's no way I could sleep with myself at night knowing I did that. And man, I lost some respect for some people that I saw doing that with Will's case. Now, as far as the new bass boat that they got, that Will got, a lot of the money was raised and donated and gifted, but Brittany and Jason themselves put $20,000 of their own money into that to get that. And one of Brittany's things in this post is someone or some people was making comments about, well, they should give that, well, now that Will's gone, they should give that boat to, they should donate that boat to something, to some organization or something like that. That's the kind of shit you need to think about. That was their son's boat. It was one of his biggest dreams to have, and he finally got it. And people making ignorant comments like that. And again, I'm sure who made those comments or similar comments like that, they didn't have ill intentions about that. But just think about shit before you say it. And most importantly, in my opinion, it's none of your business what they do with it. None. If you want to donate money to someone, that's great. But once you donate it for a good cause like that, as long as that money that you donated is going and did go towards the cause that it was saying, the rest of their money and their purchases there's none of your business. And like Brittany says about the boat, not only did Jason and I personally put close to $20,000 into it, but that boat represents something our child dreamed about, waited for, and got to enjoy during a time when there wasn't a whole lot left for him to look forward to. And it isn't going anywhere. Again, think about stuff before you say it. So that's another thing. And so anyway, what she's saying is now that's got her like she's worried about no matter what they ever buy in the future, like are people going to think about that and think, oh, it must be nice to buy stuff with money that was like, and that's not what happened. The money that was donated to them was all gone through. So much so they've still had to come out of pocket tons of money. And again, it is none of no one's business how they spend any of their money. Just like it's none of my business how you spend yours. and it's a very long post. And I suggest everyone go look at or go read it. Because it's very eye opening. And like I said, it for those that may in the future accidentally make a dumb comment that's going to bother someone like that, that's going through that, that post may hopefully stop you from that. And again, I understand most people don't have ill intentions when they say things, but there's so many people on social media that will make comments and post and without putting any thought into it and putting any thought of how it affects someone else. And again, we're talking about a family that's just gone through their worst nightmare. And it just happened. And now there's already people suggesting to them how they should give away stuff. When I saw that post, it really pissed me off. And just think about stuff before you say it. And like I said the other day, it's on GoFundMe. Be careful about who you're giving money to on there. Don't just throw your money at it. Put some research into who they are, because unfortunately, there are people that lie on GoFundMe. There are people that make up cancer diagnosis to make money off of it. But anyone with any sense whatsoever could go to Brittany's page and know this is real, number one. And then give the money, which is awesome. But when you know it's real and then you give the money, move on. If it's going to bother you 2 years from now, what they're buying, then don't give the fucking money. Simple as that. Some people were never told by a parent or listened to their parents when they said, if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all. And it shows. I'm a little guilty of that at times. But not to a family going through what they were going through. Again, it's just, God, think about stuff before you say it. Yeah, I'm very curious, and I hope she, at some point, names who that creator was that was wanting to charge for that. I just, when families like them are going through that, there are some people that will do everything they can to profit off of that. And that's sad and evil. And trust me, if you're like that, at the end of the day, you're never going to be at peace. You're going to die a miserable person. I promise you that. Names wasn't named, Tracy, and I don't even know if it was just one person. It may have been one person or it may have been a few, but there was just some comments that Brittany had seen or heard, and that was saying those things. And then I don't know if you missed the part there. There was one large digital creator that someone had reached out to have them, to ask them to share the donation link for Will's boat. Like, just share it. That's all they ask them to do. Hey, will you share this link? And the person wanted to charge them a large, as what Brittany described, a large fee to do that. And that's the one I hope she eventually names, because I want to know who that is. But at the end of the day, I don't care how much money I have. If I can't sleep at peace with myself, there's no amount of money in the world that's worth that. And I wish a lot more people understood that. Unfortunately, I think a lot of them are not going to understand it till it's too late. And I think True Crime, no, Amber with a Secrets True Crime podcast, I think it was, made a post the other day about and it's been done to me. It drives me insane, but like somebody was talking about the copy and pasting. There are people out there that will take your post, your full post, literally copy and paste it to their page as their post. Complete plagiarizing, and make money off of it. That's not cool. And I don't know who's doing it to Amber, but obviously she's seen someone that is doing that, and that's bullshit too. And again, my team can tell you, we've had it done to us. The first time I saw it, and like it was literally like they didn't change anything. Sometimes they'll change a few things, but you can still, you're like, that's the shit that's what I posted. But there was the first time one of them was literally word for word. It pissed me off so bad. I'm like, who does that? She donated money. She's talking about Brittany donating money raised for them to a local girl after Will passed. She's a class act. No, absolutely. I'm telling y'all, they are good people. I've known them for over 10 years now. Actually, closer to, I've known them about 13 years now. I think it is, at least. They're good people. And for quite a few of those years, I was very close to them. Spent tons of time with them. I've been on numerous vacations with them. They're good people. Always have been, always will be. And again, they're not the kind of people that chase money. Like that, that's just not them at all. And they're going to help whoever they can when they can. But that was another thing I was wanting to bitch about tonight. I saw that and it just really frustrated me. And I mean, think about this. There are people that are jealous. Think about this. there are people that are jealous of them in the fact it pisses those people off that Britney has made money from her platform. Think about that. But you think Britney sat down and was happy when they found this news out about Will? And her first thought was, oh, I'm going to get a large following off of this and start making money off of it. Like, what the fuck is wrong with people? I mean, I've seen people there's one person or a family. I've seen the post that was frustrated, pissed off, whatever you want to call it, that Will's story was getting so much attention because they had a child that went through something similar and they didn't get attention. So you're talking about a family that should know what it feels like to go through that. And instead of going, hey, I'm going to give them a little money if I have it, or hey, I'm going to pray for them, I'm going to spread awareness for this, they were making a post about how pretty much it's bullshit and not fair. There are just some ignorant, evil people in this world. Completely. There's always people that won't, and this is not the same, but this is what this reminds me of. There are always people that want what you have and want to be where you are, but they will never fucking do what you had to do to get to where you are. And we all know those people. We all know people like that. And they will hate on you. They will try to bring you down because they're jealous that you're where you are and they're not. But they would never sacrifice what you did to get to where you are. They handed it to them. They want to wake up one day and be successful. That's not how the world works. And in this country, you literally have freedom to do whatever you want to do. If you want to go start a business tomorrow, you can. There's nobody that will stop you. But you know what? There's people that want to do that and want to own businesses, but they will have excuses. I don't have a lot of money saved up to start a business. So most people that start a business don't. There's never a perfect time to start a business. That's not the way it happens. Most successful business owners at some point decided, you know what, I'm tired of working for someone. I want to build something. And they sacrificed, and they sacrificed a lot to get to where they are. And then there's people that want to hate on them and want what they have, but they would never do that. And all they have is excuses about why they can't. Don't come at me with your bullshit excuses, because I'll tell you straight to your face that's all they are. I'm dealing with that right now with some haters. Same thing. It drives me insane. There's nobody stopping you from doing what you want to do, except for you. Anyway, I'll get off my soapbox. I appreciate each and every one of you. I truly do. I hope you got something out of tonight's live. I know I enjoyed it. Definitely more of a laid back night, and that's very enjoyable to me at times for sure. If people spent the amount of time they invested in hating on people, they could be successful. Absolutely. I'll tell you even a better one. I've had someone in the very recent past that literally does exactly what I do. That called me, quote, a loser with no career. They do the exact same thing I do. Except I think I do it better. In fact, I know I do. But that blew my mind. Like, do you realize you do the same thing? Like, what are you talking about? Anyway, I could go on forever on that. But I appreciate you all being on here. I'll probably get some podcast out tomorrow. I've still got some guests that I got to get on that's been on standby that I just hadn't had a chance to get on yet. And again, hopefully I can announce it Friday night, but I have some news that I'm excited about that will be a change for some things. And as soon as I know that it's for sure going to happen, I'll announce that. Like I said, hopefully I can by Friday night. But I'm excited about that. And obviously I'll put that out when I can. But I appreciate you all. All I ask you to do is watch my stuff, watch them all the way through, share them, repost them, comment on them. Those are all the things that help push them out. The algorithm push them out and helps us bring awareness to the things I want that I'm trying to bring awareness to, and helps me financially. Because I can't do this for free, unfortunately. I wish I could, but I can't. So that does have to be part of it, just in the right way. And that's the most important thing to me. Because trust me, sitting up here telling the truth does not pay as much as here and lied would. I know that, but that's not who I wouldn't enjoy that at all. So it's not going to be who I am, but it'll come. But I appreciate you all. I hope you have a great rest of your Wednesday night. I will see y'all back Friday night at 9 p.m. Central, and I'll be back on all the platforms. Make sure if you're not subscribed here on YouTube, make sure you hit the subscribe button and hit the bell, the notification button, and that way every time I go live or drop a new podcast on here, you'll get notified. This is one of the few places that you can catch my full podcast here, on YouTube and Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Every platform that you're on, please find my profile and follow, subscribe, whatever the case is. I'd really appreciate that. And if you have trouble finding me on any of the platforms or want to know where all I am, you can go to our website, agentdbaker.com, and it's got the links to every platform we're on. And I've got some other things that we're going to be adding to the website ASAP too. And there'll be really good resources, and we're going to be continuously adding good resources to the website for sure. So, but I hope y'all have a good night, and I'll see y'all back Friday, and everybody be safe tomorrow, and have a good Thursday. I want to put you onto a brand that supports the people who run toward the stuff everyone else runs from. And this is Deemed Fit, built by first responders for first responders, cops, firefighters, EMS, medics, dispatchers, the military, people who move fast and carry weight. Deemed Fit makes gear for that life. Nothing extra, nothing fake. Apparel that works hard and feels right. But here's the part that made me want to work with them: the stigma breaking collection. Every piece carries a message. Are you okay? A simple question that opens doors most people are too afraid to walk through, because in this world, we lose too many of our own to the things nobody talks about. Wearing this line starts the conversation, and a portion of every purchase goes to mental health nonprofits serving first responders and veterans. Now to the gear itself, because I'm not putting my name on something that falls apart. Most gym stuff dies fast, not just the fabric, the fit, the feel, the way it holds up when you're actually pushing. This is built for the opposite of light cardio, extended shifts, strenuous training, the sessions that wreck cheaper gear, reinforced seams that stay put, moisture wicking fabric that works fast, a fit that moves with you. No bunching, no restriction. Training days, off days, it covers it all. This isn't just gym wear. It's stuff you'll actually live in. And I love that they lead with mental strength, not just physical. Their mental health apparel carries a message we all need to hear more often. You are not alone. That's mental toughness with real meaning behind it. Pride, purpose, service, sacrifice, and resilience worn on your chest. Here's how you support it and save. Click the referral link in the comments for 10% off your entire order. Or use my code Derek Baker, all one word, DEREKBAKER, at checkout for 15% off. Hey guys, you all know how health conscious I am. I haven't had a single carbonated drink in over 20 years because I'm extremely careful about what I put into my body. So when I tell you I'm partnering with Dubby, you know it's the real deal. I will never partner with any brand that I don't use myself. Now, Dubby is zero sugar, jitter-free, crash-free, no artificial dyes or colors, none of that garbage. Just clean energy that actually tastes incredible. I've been drinking it every day, and I'm genuinely impressed. If you want to upgrade your energy too, use my code Agent D Baker for 10% off. Link in bio. Go be better with